In this video, we're going to be exploring the characteristics of a Roth IRA here in the United States. Now, you've probably seen this idea of a Roth IRA thrown everywhere on the internet. Every single personal finance advisor or big YouTuber is encouraging you to get one of these. It's seen as one of the first and most important investment strategies you should have in the United States in order to grow your personal finances and be wealthy later on in life. I'm here to explore the questions: what exactly is a Roth IRA in comparison to a traditional IRA? Why do people tend to pick a Roth IRA over traditional IRAs? When do you want to use maybe a traditional IRA compared to a Roth IRA? And finally, do you really need to absolutely have a Roth IRA in order to be financially successful down the line? An IRA stands for an individual retirement account, and it is often a tax advantage investment account that encourages individuals to save for retirement. What it is an account that has a combination of liquidated assets as well as stocks that you can buy into, and those stocks will be compounded obviously annually in order to gain some kind of interest or some kind of money that you will then be able to take out in retirement. So what it really is, it's a fancy name for a savings investment account. You're putting money into this account, you're using that money to buy different types of stocks, such as mutual funds, index funds, EFTs, and different government bonds and whatnot. And that amount of money then is compounded through time. It becomes an investment, but you're still saving for retirement. Upon retirement, you're able to withdraw your contributions and your earnings in order to retire comfortably. Traditional IRAs are often known as tax-deferred IRAs. So when you're cashing into your traditional IRA, your taxes, you don't have to really pay up front, and your investment and your gains are growing. But when you do retire at 59.5 or at the age where you start pulling out retirement funds from that IRA, you have to pay taxes then. So it is now a save now and pay taxes later situation.
So a brief history lesson. The Roth IRA was founded in honor of William Roth, who was a Republican senator in the District of Delaware, and he had the idea of really forming an IRA that would allow people to pay taxes now while their income tax bracket is lower, so that they can take out or cash out contributions later on in their IRA without having to pay taxes. People describe this guy as a tax cutter, a fervent tax cutter, and someone who really used his life to contribute towards legislations that would stop or at least alleviate very wasteful government spending.
And so, like what the Roth IRA really is all about, it is an account where you are taxed at initial input. So as you put money into your Roth IRA, you are taxed then, assuming that you are going to be in a lower income tax bracket right now. And so later on in life, when you start cashing out, you no longer have to be taxed. So for the purpose of this video, I actually cashed out some of the money that I have in my Roth IRA just to test out the hypothesis that it claims online. With an IRA, apparently you can cash out your contributions, so not your gains or earnings, just your contributions at any time for any reason without penalty or taxes. I cashed out $1,700 and I was able to find out the following information. So I use Fidelity as my brokerage firm, and Fidelity had told me that it is important to note the Roth IRA cashes out your contributions first before your earnings. That sounds like a great thing if you knew how much you contributed, which brings me to my next point. Clients have to keep track of your own contributions. I was told to go speak to an accountant if you don't know how much your contributions are. And I was actually kind of surprised by this fact, because there's a history tab in your account history that should tell you exactly how much was contributed to your account during the lifespan of the account. It sounds easy to look at the history and say, oh, I put in $200 here, $100 there, $1,000, $2,000. But if your account is as complicated as mine, which most of your accounts could be because it's rollovers, contributions for 401k, transferring different firms, 403b, etc., your contributions are now mixed in with conversions and also other earnings that you may not be aware of. The next one is the maturity of the account. Say that you are wanting to withdraw from your IRA that's not just contributions, but also for family emergencies, then you need to have a Roth IRA that is at least 5 years or older. This situation is still a lot more desirable than a traditional IRA because with any kind of cashing out of a traditional IRA before 59 and a half, contributions, earnings, whatnot, you're subject to a 10% penalty fee as well as state and federal taxes that you have to pay depending on your situation. Next, we should talk about the idea of a qualified distribution, which sounds like a very fancy word, but what that is qualified withdrawal before 59 and a half. So say if, for instance, there's been a death in your family or you lost a job where you don't have health care and you suddenly need health care, or you have some emergency school expenses, or you buy your first home, there are different categories to which the government will allow you to take out early from your Roth IRA without being subject to a 10% penalty. This actually goes towards a traditional and a Roth IRA. These qualified distributions exist for both types of IRAs. But I couldn't find anywhere that you can be also exempt from federal and state taxes. So I think even though you may be exempt from 10% penalty that the IRS will charge you, you still have to pay federal and state income taxes on your IRA contributions and earnings when you withdraw, even for qualified distributions and family emergencies. Cashing out after 59 and a half. For a traditional IRA, when you cash out after 59 and a half, there is no limit to how much you have to take out every single time, every month, be it or 5 times a year, however many times you want, there's no limit to it. And same goes with a Roth IRA. However, the biggest difference is that with a traditional IRA, you have to start taking out money from your account after you turn 72 if you have not already done so. With a Roth IRA, you technically don't really have to. There's no requirement that you have to ever touch that money, and so it can keep growing. So this is the very interesting part because with wealthy people, say for example, if you have enough cash flow and you don't really need to touch your IRA, the traditional IRA may not be the best IRA to have because you have to take money out of it all the time. But with a Roth IRA, you can technically just change your beneficiary to your child and leave a lump sum to them while compounding an interest. Yay! So, given the scenarios we talked about above, you can tell why people in America choose to have a Roth IRA as opposed to a traditional IRA. But there are certain circumstances in which people still want to use a traditional IRA. Say for instance, many of the retirees that we know actually fall in a lower tax bracket when they do retire because suddenly the cash flow is very little or almost nothing. That's when a traditional IRA actually could be more helpful because in the beginning, in your working years from age 20 to 60, you fall into a very high income tax bracket given your high income. When you retire, when you don't have cash flow and you don't have your own business or you don't want to be a consultant, you suddenly don't have cash flow or you don't work for someone anymore and your tax bracket falls to a very bare minimum. When you start pulling out money from your account, from your traditional IRA, and it had been tax deferred this whole time, now you're paying taxes on it, but you don't have to pay that much taxes on it because you yourself are not making as much money. So that's why people choose a traditional IRA over a Roth IRA. But most of us look at this and think to ourselves, maybe after 60, I'll start running my own business. I'll be a consultant of some sort. I'll probably still be working because without work, we do get bored sometimes. There are also people after the age of 60 maybe wanting to pull out from a Roth IRA just for entertainment purposes, but don't want to pay taxes because at age 62, 65, you may be a consultant at some firm. Your income tax bracket is high as it has been because suddenly you are the expert in the field. And if you had to have a traditional IRA, paying taxes would just blow you over. So yes, in that circumstance, a Roth IRA is still the best kind of situation. So it's interesting because you really have to plan your future. It sounds very scary, but you have to know and plan your future before you commit to a kind of IRA. Now, if you have some extra cash right now to spare, say for example, you work a 9-to-5 job or you do a lot of hustling and $6,000 per year of a limit is really nothing to you, then go ahead, start a Roth IRA. Having a Roth IRA for retirement and future really doesn't hurt. But if you're right now really looking for ways to save up on cash or trying to build a cash flow and you just don't have extra money to spare, I would focus, instead of looking at investments, oh, I need to save up for retirement, focus on cash flow. How can you make more cash? What are some hustles or some jobs that you can undertake in order to bring the money as opposed to where the money is going in future? I would say the best strategy for a Roth IRA or an IRA in general is to just, if you have money, to leave it in there for a while, because it does pay off in future. It's not a immediate turnover like a high yield savings account where you can put money in there, it'll grow, and then you can use it. If you're planning to open a Roth IRA or an individual retirement account of any sort today, just be prepared that it is a futuristic mindset. You're really putting in money for the long run, and you're hoping to leave it in there for at least a couple of decades. Take care, you guys.